Welcome to the channel. Well, I have been playing around with the Anbernic RG slide, and nice device, but we want to check one specific use case here that I didn't cover in my other video just because, well, the other video is kind of running long anyway. But sometimes you want to use these devices attached to a big monitor or big TV screen or what have you, and to do that, you got a couple of options. You can use, with this device here, a USB-C to HDMI cable. And in fact, in my other RG slide video, the long one, that's actually what I used to record the gameplay footage, was a USB-C to HDMI cable. But, you know, of course, doing that actually drains the battery. So, you know, you're playing games on a bigger screen, but you have to be conscious of running the battery down. Well, of course, another option would be to use any number of, docks. This is an Anker USB-C dock. It's got, ports on here for memory cards and whatnot. It's got HDMI output. It's got a power delivery in here and a couple of USB ports for other things. I use this with a fair number of devices. And in case you're wondering, well, what about a Nintendo Switch dock? The behavior that you're going to see in this video is the same for these devices with pretty much any one of these little docks you choose. I just chose the Anker mainly because, hey, it was convenient. It was sitting on my desk already. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out how the RG slide and a couple other handhelds as well function when attached to a dock. In other words, can you display video and charge at the same time, which is kind of a requirement, you might say, for using any of these things as a TV device for any period of time here. So that's what we're going to do. And we won't start with the RG slide here. We're going to start with a device that I actually know will use a dock properly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch the screen a bit. And so what you see in the majority of the screen where it says no signal is you see the output of my capture card, which is actually what this HDMI cable is hooked to. So I've got my Razer Edge here, and I'm going to just plug it into the dock and see if we get anything. That takes a second. But as you can see, the Razer Edge pops up on the screen. Now, my capture card set to 16:9, 1080p. So you can probably see a little bit of black bars on here, which is normal because this is a 20:9 screen. But you can see that it works. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the display, you can actually see the charging icon indicating that we are, in fact, displaying video and charging at the same time. So you could use the Razer Edge as a docked console if you like. Now, of course, other consoles kind of do this too. So here's the Odin 2 portal. Plugging it in to the dock, see if we get anything. So you can see up there in the upper right-hand corner, we are not only displaying video, but we are also charging. So, Odin 2 portals, and in fact, don't need to test all the Odin 2 devices. They all work exactly the same way. The Odin 2s that I have, no problem using pretty much any standard dock. Now, how about Retroids? Well, here's a Retroid Pocket Mini here, and I'm going to plug it into the dock, and we'll see what we get. Of course, this is the one that has the kind of fake 4x3 screen. I have a whole video about that on this channel, but as you can see, it has no problems actually attaching to the dock. You can see that it is both displaying video, and if you look in the upper right-hand corner, like all these other ones we've looked at so far, you can see that the device is charging with no problem. So charging, displaying, you can certainly use a Retroid Pocket Mini as a television console. So let's get into some Anbernic devices. This whole video started off talking about the RG slide, and we'll get to that. But first, here is the RG557. This is one of Anbernic's newest devices. It's actually came out just before the RG Mini did. So we've got our device on here. Let's see if we can charge and output video at the same time here. There we go. So we got the screen popped up there, and you can see in the upper right-hand corner, I don't have a percentage thing turned on this thing, but you can see that the charging icon's there. So we're also having no problems here using the Anbernic RG557 with a dock. So maybe that gives us a little bit of hope for some of these other Anbernic handhelds, and we will see. Before we get to the main event, though, here is the Anbernic RG556, which is actually a handheld that's a lot like the RG Slide. Now, of course, this one was released like a year earlier, but it uses the same, chipset, the Unisoc T820 that the RG Slide does. And it's been pretty well established that the RG556 has, you might say, a bit of a problem when you're trying to use a dock. So you can actually display video out of the USB-C port if you use a USB-C to HDMI cable, and that works just fine. But things start to get a little weirder when you go and you plug this thing into a dock, and I'll see if I can demonstrate what I mean. So I'm going to plug this in now. And we'll wait a few seconds. And one thing you might notice is we get nothing up there on the screen. We actually do get charging here. So this device is charging. Yeah. Let me flip back to a bigger screen. Maybe you can see it there. Charging icon right up here in the corner. But as you can see, we got no video output. And one thing you might notice pretty quickly after you do this is not only do we have, no video output, we've also lost the touchscreen. So the T820 handhelds like the RG556 from last year have questionable behavior when hooked to docks. You can see, hey, it's not responding at all. You might think, oh, is it locked up? You can actually use the physical controls here, but you can't use the touchscreen. So no video output, no touchscreen, but hey, it's at least charging. So probably not a handheld you're going to want to try to use with a dock, because you're going to get all kinds of weird behavior like this. But you can use it with either a charger or a USB-C to HDMI cable, but not both at the same time, because you get stuff like this. I'm going to disconnect this for right now. And one thing about this is, hey, the touchscreen's still dead. And found out by playing around with this for a while, it may come back eventually. Or, try to turn it off, turn it back on. The whole device just gets confused, like it thinks it's charging. The charging light was on. It's just now turned off. I don't think you can see it on the camera because I was holding it a little too far away. So you get all kinds of oddball behavior with plugging the RG556 into a dock. Not advisable. Now, right now, touchscreen is still dead, but usually what happens is after a little while, once it basically figures itself out, you might say, we will be able to use the touchscreen again. Does it kill the device permanently? At least, I hope not. But sometimes it takes a bit for the device to get itself sorted out. Yep. So I'm just going to turn it off for a bit. And we'll come back to the RG556 later when it's decided to stop being mental. Usually forcing a restart will fix it. But sometimes it just takes a little time. So again, you don't want to use a dock with any of the older Anbernic, you might say 6 series handhelds like the RG556. The RG406s will probably show the same questionable behavior. So the question is, did they fix things with the RG slide? Let's find out. So we will roll the dice, plug in the dock, and nothing on the screen so far. Hey, the touchscreen's still working. Although, if I plug it in again, see, there's actually no response this time. It's not responding to the dock at all. So it's not charging. It hasn't literally locked the device up yet, but nothing good's happening. So we're still going to say that the RG slide is not dock compatible. So if you're thinking about buying this, even though it's a nice new 2025 device, it still has the same guts as the old ones. So if you're thinking about buying the RG slide, you want to use it with the dock to charge and play games on the TV at the same time, well, think again, get some other device, because this one's not going to do it for you, because this just doesn't work. Now, if you don't mind running the battery down while you're playing attached to a TV, then fine, it'll work. But don't buy this expecting it to work with the dock, because it doesn't. And I've tried this with a Switch dock as well, so in case you're wondering, hey, is there anything weird going on with this Anchor dock I'm using? Well, no, because as you can see, it works with all the other handhelds that are known to work with docks. And also, when I tried my Switch dock, it did exactly the same thing. Either you get really weird behavior like the touchscreen disappearing, like you saw on the RG556, or the device just doesn't recognize the dock at all. So here ends our experiment with various handhelds, trying to see whether they work with docks. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave me a like. If you want to see more gaming-related content, some handhelds, some controller stuff, some PC stuff, then subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.